If ISIS takes responsibility for the Turkey airport attack, it would be the 5th deadly incident in the country over the past year. Last July, 32 people killed in a bombing in a town near the Syrian border. Then this scene last October, more than 100 people killed in a bombing at a peace rally in Ankara. Turkish officials also blame ISIS for killing 10 Germans in an Istanbul tourist area in January and 4 people in a suicide bombing in a shopping district of Istanbul in March. Ryan Mauro is a security analyst with the Clarion Project and a political science professor at Liberty University, and he joins The Real Story now. Ryan, thank you for being with us. Obviously, just trying to dissect the pieces of this horrific terror attack, very deadly, hitting Turkey again. You think ISIS made a huge mistake?
I really do. I think that ISIS made a big mistake because it has not felt the full force of the Turkish military yet. In fact, ISIS able to grow in large part because the Turks were turning a blind eye to it. Turkey, in fact, was supporting other Islamic terrorist groups as well in Syria. And even though Turkey has become increasingly involved in fighting ISIS, they haven't been in 100%. And ISIS needs that area along the Turkish border in order to operate effectively, and that's going to be gone now. So ISIS, I think, is going to be privately regretting this very soon.
All right, well, I think definitely there needs to be a swift reaction to this, to fight against them, like you said, cutting them off. And also, I think it's really important to cut off some of those key supply routes in that area to be able to bomb them and hit them hard so that they can stop the transfer of weapons, ammunition going across as well.
That's exactly right. And since ISIS is so reliant upon that, even with Turkey fighting ISIS a bit now, those routes were still being used. And so now if Turkey cuts that off, then ISIS is going to be in even worse shape than they currently are in. And we need to remember that if we look at the trends in Syria, ISIS is losing territory. And so as horrifying as these attacks are when they carry them out, we have to remember that this doesn't mean that ISIS is winning. We shouldn't give them that propaganda victory, because their success is perceived as Allah's blessing. That is how they recruit. And so one of the dangers when they have a successful attack like this is that that's going to earn them a whole new wave of recruits.
Yes, it inspires because they're the cool jihad on the block, but that's why you have to choke them out on those supply paths and hit them very hard, hit them where they get the money to be able to fund the terror as well, so they can't carry out attacks like this. Because what we saw, Ryan, is very sophisticated vests that they were wearing that had a tremendous blast radius, as you saw on some of these horrifying videos. And further to that point, we have the CIA director with this just in warning of a similar terror attack that could happen right here on U.S. soil.
Right, when counterterrorism personnel and experts warn about the threat of ISIS, the anxiety that you hear isn't always about the situation today. It's about what we see coming around the corner, about what this says about the future of the United States and our security. And so when you look at trends, the situation becomes more fearful for us in the future, because even if ISIS is losing territory on the ground, well, another group will replace ISIS as long as that ideology is available and producing new terrorists. One of the other concerns is the fact that the Turkish government hates and fights Kurds that are backed by the United States. So if Turkey goes into Syria, there's a good chance they're going to end up fighting Kurds that are backed by the United States.
Unbelievable. Well, clearly you have to fight them on multiple fronts, militarily, from an intelligence perspective, and also social media, where they've been able to get a tremendous footing with those that would self-radicalize as well in ISIS-inspired attacks. Ryan Mauro, thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure. And shocking details.